Hello.
What's up?
How you doing, man?
Pretty good. You like my new mask?
Do.
It took me a while to get it to work right, but I got it.
Nice.
A lot of customizing. So what's up? What's new?
Do you see well out of that?
Yeah, I can see perfectly fine through this eye and this one.
Alright, cool.
Except when the light... Hold on. See if you see it. Let me find the button. Yeah, can you see that?
Yeah, the little red
Light.
light.
Yeah. We were debating on whether we were going to use the mask or not, and then my other guitar player found the mask and he started wearing it. And I was like, well, shit. Now I got to get back a mask, but I'm singing now and rapping on stuff, so
Nice.
I had to find something with an open face that works. And now we're just trying to push it as characters, I guess, give that feeling to people that something a little more surreal than just regular life.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Yeah, man. I think that adds a lot to the show.
Definitely. Sorry, I got a million things going on at once on Facebook.
It's all good.
All right. Yeah, so you were saying about trying to turn a show into an event.
Yeah.
I think that was a great idea to do, like make it like a 90s rock thing. We had talked about doing stuff like that too, where it was like a cover band type thing.
Yeah.
And then doing originals in between just to kind of get people rolling. Since I've had you on the podcast, we had A.L. Levy this past week, but it's not going to air for another 2 weeks.
Who's that?
Actually, he's a big metal producer. Most of the people that he's produced have been on the top 10 on the charts.
Nice.
What
genre is he producing in?
Just anything between like deathcore to black metal.
Okay.
I knew him from the podcast thing that I was in with Joey Sturgis. They were teaching us how to mix and whatnot. So
I watched that one that you reposted about from Joey's podcast,
right,
where he was walking through a studio. It was really cool.
Yeah, Joey's cool. He's really busy all the time, so I don't think I'd ever get him on. But he does do a lot of podcasts and stuff to help people, and that's where it kind of sparked the idea for ours. Plus, they talk a lot about how to become successful on top of how to mix. So I'm just taking their topics and kind of more refining them. And Al's great because he came up as a member of Doth, this band that got signed by Roadrunner. And he said he used to hand out like 25,000 free CDs just randomly to try to get out there. But he's like, that's completely not viable these days. It was completely viable, 10 years ago, but not anymore.
Yeah, I remember going to shows when I was like, junior high and high school, and I'd go to the Metro, and there would be, the bands obviously playing on stage, but then whoever was playing the next week, all those bands would be at the shows. And then they'd be passing out, promo CDs and flyers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we were talking about flyers actually because that was something I brought up because I thought they were still viable. But he made a good point. He's like, when was the last time you ever went to a show because somebody handed you a flyer? I was like, well, never. Not unless I knew the bands that were on the flyer. I mean, it's different to hand out flyers to your friends as a reminder, but to just randomly hand out flyers, it could possibly work, but I think I've handed out 2,000 flyers once and maybe saw 2 people out of the 2,000 show up. So
Sure.
The return on investment on that is just crap.
Well, I mean, how many flyers? How much did 2,000 flyers cost to make?
About 60 bucks, I think it was that it cost me.
Okay. Yeah. So then it didn't quite make it back, but
no.
Sucks.
I'm sure if you had a better name on the flyer, or you had a name that people knew, or if it was...
Well, I think more than that, it's how you hand out the flyers. Something that sticks out.
People doing it too, so.
Something that sticks out to me was when I was in New York with my wife. We were just like walking around Times Square, and there were these people who were all dressed up in their like costumes for the specific shows that they were going to be in. It's like, these actors who are playing on Broadway, they're not just playing their show on Broadway and going home.
Right.
All day they're out in their costume on Times Square, handing out flyers and stuff to try to get people to come out. And I think that production value really helped. Granted, it was in a specific area where people are expecting that kind of stuff, and it was in a specific area where people are going to look for shows to go to.
Right.
But it totally worked. I mean, we ended up going to some like stand-up comedy show that was nowhere near Times Square because this guy, sold the shit out of those tickets.
Yeah, I can see that being viable. Like if you stood outside of a concert and handed out flyers, or if you handed out CDs at a concert, I think that's viable. But just walking around and handing to random people that you don't even know if they listen to your kind of music or not.
Yeah.
For you, I'm sure it's different because everybody likes pop and pop rock, and it's something that everybody can listen to. But metal, it's just like, how many people are you going to find on the street that'll listen to your music?
True.
But yeah, like you were saying with events, we were actually thinking about that and different ways to get people to come to shows because I don't go to local shows because I don't have the money a lot of times, or because I don't have the time, or because my girlfriend's fiance's got the car.
Sure.
But it got me thinking about, what do people really go to local shows for? And it's either they know the band and that's why they're going, or there's some other incentive. So we were thinking about turning into parties more so than shows. I think that works if you stagger it. You don't just play shows for the sake of playing shows. You play shows for a reason, somebody's birthday, New Year's, Halloween, whatever. But have a reason to play a show, market it for that reason, have a specific message, and I think that helps a lot. We're thinking about just giving away like free beer to the first 20 people coming in and advertising it like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. It's trial and error.
Absolutely. I think that's what our entire career is, trial and error,
Yeah. I mean, this podcast has been pretty much trial and error, just trying new things and seeing what works, what sticks, and not giving up on it the first day that it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a podcast called the CD Baby DIY Musicians Podcast. Do you ever listen to that one? I just got into it like this month and started listening to it like on the regular, but it's hilarious because I feel like I'm listening from the future. They're talking about MySpace and like, the invention of Twitter and stuff like that. But aside from the social media stuff, all the rest of that stuff is totally relevant. And but at the same time, I'm listening now and I'm getting value out of it. But they recorded these things, the specific ones I'm listening to at least, they recorded those in like 2006, 2007.
Right.
So it's crazy.
I definitely have to check it out because if they're doing it, it's probably something worth listening to. But it's really that old, like the podcast they're doing.
Well, I mean, they're coming out with new ones still,
okay. But you're just like
it's
going through their catalog.
Yeah, starting at number one and making my way through.
I'm hoping that more people start doing stuff like that because Al said something that stuck with me. He's talking about all this stuff and he says, we can tell people the way it is forever and ever, but they're still going to turn around and do it the wrong way.
Yeah.
I seem to have that issue trying to convince bands to do certain things that I'm trying to help manage. I'll tell them, don't book a show. Try to get your album done. Focus on that, and then worry about shows. And what do? They book like 5 more shows that week. So
and they're probably within like a month of each other in the same, vicinity.
In the same venue. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, unless you're booking a residency and it's like, all right, so I'm going to do Tuesday nights at, Shuba's in Chicago. And I'm going to do Tuesday nights, and I'm going to do, like, I don't know, 90s rock party situation every Tuesday night for the next 2 months. Like that's one thing. But like, when it's like weekend shows or shows where you're doing like a multi-band bill and you're expected to draw stuff like that, like that gets real tough. It gets real tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've thought it. We were thinking about touring. I don't see that being viable for us right now until I feel like we would have to pull a Bandemonium all over again without the Bandemonium name on it before I'd be comfortable touring. I feel like if we can't bring regularly 60 or 70 people to a local show, there's really no point, because if we can't get people that know us to be into it, how are we going to get people that don't know us into it?
I actually find the opposite to be true. When we play in Chicago, if I bust my ass, we can pull in, between 100 and 200 for a decent show.
Right.
But, like, for the Bandemonium things, I think we brought in, like, 30 people.
Right.
Well,
I mean, it didn't help that the lineup wasn't your normal lineup,
Yeah, and there was a pretty decent mix. I mean, like,
Yeah, I guess so. Day rollers mixed on
probably
one
on one end
end
of the
it out.
spectrum, guys on the other, but
Right.
it was a spectrum. I mean, it would be like us, and then maybe day rollers, and then mixed company would kind of be more towards our end. Where on your end, you had you guys, and they never say no. And
Anchors and Empires in the beginning for that first show.
Anchors and Empire.
I don't know what happened.
They were somewhere in the middle there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked that spread. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna have a show like that where it's a big spread. I think there's 10 bands in June.
Nice.
And out of the 10 bands, I think there's 3 metal bands. Us and They Never Say No. We're co-headlining with They Never Say No, and then another metal band. I can't think of their name right now. Is playing. So it'll be interesting. I know one of our biggest concerns, and I know They Never Say No probably has the same concern, is if we're playing so far in the time period, we're last up. If the bands before us are all like ska bands or whatever, most of their people are not going to want to stick around for metal, and I can't blame them. I didn't like metal at one point, but I can see for you being something that everybody could listen to, it would be a lot easier.
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that it's easier to please a group of unsuspecting listeners.
Right.
But no, in the sense that it's harder to find my niche.
That's true.
I do have the advantage of like people who are super into 90s rock. Like that's a pretty specific group of people who are they're wanting to listen to Third Eye Blind again. They're the people who are going out to those concerts as these bands are coming back and touring again.
Right.
Those people are actually fairly easy for me to find. But until those bands started touring again, I was really struggling finding those fans because I knew that's the kind of music I wrote, but really difficult to find those people.
Yeah, I think nowadays you almost have to have a super niche more so than just a niche. Like you have to have something that's really in particular about you, so you can market it on Facebook the right way, get the best bang for your buck on advertisements, and be able to place yourself in the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even been hard with us because our music spans from like party rap rock to some real serious heavy deathcore stuff, and this whole album we've been writing has been like that. It's just been like 3 or 4 party songs, and then the rest is all like either extremely deathcore or like melodic metal.
Sure.
I find it really hard to find a niche and stick with it But on the bright side, each song could be marketed with a pretty good super niche. I think there's a couple of things that I could pinpoint and be like, this sounds like them. Let's market it to these um, people that like this band on Facebook.
And I feel like people who find you through either one of those avenues would probably be into the other thing that you're doing. It's just if you market this specific thing towards them, they get into it, and then they can discover the rest of your discography, you know, rest of your catalog.
Do you pay for Facebook ads?
I do. Most especially when I'm touring. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was just curious. I've never really gotten into it up until now. I think since Bandemonium I started doing it, and it's viable. You just have to keep trying with different techniques until you get something that really works for an ad, then run the crap out of that ad until
it no longer works.
Yeah, right. And then start over fresh again.
Yeah.
It's like $5 for a day. All right, that didn't work. $5 more. That didn't work. All right, so I got three hits on that. I'm gonna run this one. Yeah. What have you found to work as far as your Facebook ads go? Anything specific you've noticed has really worked out, like advertising videos?
So one of the, I mean, for me, the majority of my stuff is geo-targeted, so it's based on where we're touring.
Right.
I found things that I thought worked that didn't, like Portland. I put like $200 into a geo-specific ad, really focused on people who dig Third Eye Blind and Foo Fighters and Matchbox 20, and I thought I had like this whole thing dialed in, and I was like, Portland's gonna love that stuff. No one showed up from those ads, not one person. However, I spent $15 on one in Des Moines, Iowa, and had people come who showed up who knew the lyrics to my songs that I didn't know. I had never played there before. First time, this is what happened. And I haven't quite exactly figured out what it is that makes it work and what it is that makes it not work, but I think it has more to do with if you play these secondary markets, you play these smaller towns. You know, if you're playing Chicago, LA, New York, Jesus Christ, sorry about the
No, you're fine. My Facebook's going off. So.
fucking things. If you're playing LA, Chicago, New York, you know, Detroit, Miami, Houston, all these major cities, you're going to get lost in the noise.
Yeah, I can feel you there. I know here I can't seem to recreate the shows I remember growing up in Rockingham, North Carolina. We would throw out, you know, like 200, 300 flyers, you know, and get so much ROI on that. And we'd have a venue packed with 300, 400 people every time, no doubt.
That's awesome.
But the second you get into a bigger city, it's like, I mean, there's local shows every night. You know, nobody really cares to get out and do things. Then again, you know, North Carolina, there's not a whole lot to do. So the second you get a chance to go out and hang out with your buddies, you're all over it. So. Plus, I'm in a different age group since I've been up here, so that also might play into the factor. I don't know, but
it does. I mean, I definitely think it does. And I remember growing up when I was, when I was going to shows all the time. And I've grown up in Chicago, so it's been my home base my whole life.
Right.
So it's the scene that I've known the best. But I remember going to shows, and it was pretty packed. And I think it had to do with, they really dialed in how to market to the right people. And it worked for me, and I was at almost, like, there was this one band that I used to go see. I don't know if you remember a band called Medina Lake.
It sounds familiar.
They were like a, I don't know, like a post-emo rock band, maybe? I don't know. I don't really know how to describe them, but they were really good, and they're from Chicago. Good friends of mine, and they're like 10 years older than me, but going to see all their shows, I was at every single one of them, and they were all packed. So.
Chris asks if you know a way to handle the hierarchy in a band, like ego issues and whatnot, like people not knowing their roles in a band.
I sure do.
Fire them.
Fire them. So I've been in several types of bands. I've been in the kind that it was all a collaborative effort. Everybody put in equal and everybody got out equal.
Right.
And when I've been in bands like that, I've run into scheduling issues, I've run into ego issues, I've run into drama between bandmates, and that shit got in my way. So I made a conscious decision to do my music career differently and become a solo artist. And now I have guys that play with me all the time, and if they're busy, I call someone else.
Right.
And that has been awesome. And I think that same thing could apply to other types of bands. I've seen, like I said, all these 90s bands are coming back. And all that matters is, like, there are some key people who are still in the band. Like, for instance, Vertical Horizon. You've got that lead singer dude, Matt, who's still in it. But all the other people who are playing with him are all, they're all different people. All the people who used to play with him are off doing other projects.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think I've said it before, just try to figure out your role, stick with it, try to be as business as possible. And then once you've made it, if you really can't get along with those people, you're there. You can leave now and do your own thing, and the record label or whoever will find somebody else to replace you. But sticking it out in the beginning and just making sure that you're doing business and not letting egos and personal shit get in the way. I think
another big thing is communication. Like, you have to speak up when you see, like, if someone's being a dick, you got to speak up and call them out on it. There are other ways to maybe say that.
You're being a dick.
Being a dick. No, but like, if someone's constantly late to things, there's a way to bring that up and be like, hey, you're late again, and this has happened X amount of times. This is the impact that it's having on me. This is the impact it's having on the band.
Right.
This has to change. And you can say things like that in bands, especially when you're close with the guys, makes it, or girls, makes it a lot easier to manage when everybody just kind of speaks up and gets that off their chest.
Yeah, and I think that kills a lot of bands, the fact that they number one, feel like they can't be replaced, and number two, the band as a whole feel like they can't replace people. And when people leave, they're like, all right, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely something that I've dealt with, and we went through huge lineup change, but it wasn't going to stop. It's, if you believe in something, it doesn't matter who else is behind you, in my opinion. But I couldn't do I couldn't do what you're doing. For me, I feel like everybody almost needs to be a part of something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of a team player than a solo player. I couldn't see myself creating all the music and just telling people to learn it and play it live. I would almost have to have people there along with me the whole way. Just to feel like it was, a family more so than...
My songwriting process is usually I'll write the lyrics, the melody, the chords, and I'll bring what I have to my band, and they'll fill out their parts. I don't necessarily always have their parts written. Every once in a while, I'll be like, I want a bass line that sounds like this in this section.
Right.
And every once in a while, my bass player will be like, no, that's dumb. I'm going to do this. And he's right. So there are a lot of ways where it still is very much a team effort, but a lot of ways where I'm definitely carrying the lion's share of responsibility in this band.
And it also puts a lot on you to become the figurehead of everything and do all the social work.
Yeah.
With us, it's nice. People keep telling me like 7 people is a lot of people. I'm like, not really. As long as if you have like guitar rehearsals, vocal rehearsals, like synchronize your movement, rehearsals for that, and then try to get together as a whole band. Once you've got every little piece down, then come together as a full. It's not really as much as you would think it is.
Yeah.
But it also creates a lot of different circles to market in. Instead of just having 4 little circles that probably interconnect, you've got 7 circles that probably barely connect.
Right.
And I feel like that allows things to move a little quicker because you've got friends and family of everybody connecting and sharing, and then you're able to spread out a lot quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. The difficult about what I do is, for promoting shows, I'll use my drummer as an example. He is in 2 other projects like that are as regularly performing as this one is. But then he's got 3 or 4 other projects that he's also working in that's like very occasional. So when he promotes shows, he's like, here's what my week looks like. Where when I promote a show, I'm like, this area, this is all you've got to come see.
So how do you...
So much going on that he can't really promote for our show very much.
How do you handle having people that are in multiple things? Do you try to schedule things so that it works, or do you just schedule how you need to schedule and find a replacement if necessary?
Yeah, that's what I do. Schedule what I need to schedule, and if someone can't be there, I call someone else.
Right. That's the downside about having a set lineup for us.
Yeah.
We've got one guy that's in another project, Chris actually, and he's trying to schedule between things. I'm pretty set on I'm going to schedule it, and if you can't make it, then we're going to figure it out then. But try to make it. I mean, the best you can. So
yeah,
you guys, this is the biggest thing I find with 7 people is making sure that they're all practicing at home and coming in to rehearse, not coming in to practice. I'm sure you don't have that issue considering your band of people.
I don't ever have that problem with drums and bass.
Right.
Because I perform really regularly with those guys, and so it's pretty rare that there's like a new song that needs to be worked on, or because they're around when I'm writing it, and they hear it, they work on it with me, and sometimes we'll throw it in a set just for fun. But as far as for guitar work, I just did my taxes, and as a sole proprietor, I have outside contractors that these guys are. I'm hiring a drummer, I'm hiring a bass player. That way I don't have to pay taxes on what I'm paying them. But when I do that, the guitar players that I hired them so infrequently last year that I didn't even have to claim them as outside contractors. They made less than $600, where the rest of my band made more than that. I had 2 drummers and 2 bass players that made more than either of my guitar players made.
Wow.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. It's got to be nice for them.
Yeah, I'm sure. Show up to the gig. I mean, they don't have to book. They don't really have to promote. They're not expected to promote. They're expected to know their parts and show up to the gigs.
I almost feel like doing that, just like paying people instead of having to deal with the hassle. Sounds better. I'm sure it costs more.
It does cost more.
What was
and some of those gigs, it really hurts, like I said, with the Bandonium stuff. But then there's other gigs where, I'm pocketing like $1,000 after that, and all I have to do is, pay 150 to the drummer, pay 150 to the bass player, and cool. Good gig, guys. but that makes up for all the times where I just totally eat shit with having to pay out, you know?
Yeah. What brought you to the point that it was like, I'm gonna quit my job and just do this full time, and I'll pay these guys? Because that seems like a big jump.
It was, and it's been a transition, really. I still teach private lessons when I'm not on the road,
Right.
and I was working at the School of Rock, and I was the vocal instructor there. And the particular school that I was at was really unorganized,
Oh,
and it was kind of a nightmare. And when I did the math, I realized I have 30 students here. If I taught on my own and charged what they charge, I could have 11 students
right.
and make more money. And I was like, well, that's what I have to do.
So do you do Skype lessons too, or do you just do it all?
I have right now I have one client who does Skype lessons, but for him it's more of like a
Theory type thing?
like a coaching, a musician coaching. So
Okay.
here's where I'm at in my career, here's where I want to be, what steps do I have to take? And I walk him through, okay, well, what are you doing with social media? And what are you doing with booking? And what are you doing with, private lessons? And trying to help him kind of get his footing.
Yeah. That's cool. Do you have a website for any of that, or?
Not right now. It's just it used to be a page on like davidpagemusic.com,
Right.
but a while back I ran into some security issues and I had to totally rebuild my website. And when I did that, I never got back to building the lessons part.
Right.
But that's something that I'm gonna be doing soon. It's just super busy.
I could always add it on my site if you just need a site.
There you go.
If it makes sense, and just here, if you want some extra lessons, here's David Paige. I mean, it doesn't seem like a bad idea. I'm sure there's pros and cons.
And teaching has been nice change when I'm not, on the road. But the hard thing is, like, every time I go out on the road, if I'm gone for 7 weeks, when I come back, it's like, oof. All right, let's see if any of these people still want lessons.
I can see that. I mean, there's a lot of people that do it. I know Born of Osiris and a couple other bands, they come back to Chicago after their tour, and they'll spend a month or two giving lessons, charging probably an insane amount, and then they'll go back on tour. Unfortunately, we don't all have the luxuries of being that huge and can charge that amount, but they're doing it, so it's possible.
I think one of the things that I've kind of found, and not through my own business, but like my mom's business, she teaches these classes, like they're classes designed for communication and leadership development, stuff like that. And she has been like playing with the pricing on that. And when she has it lower, she finds that a lot of the people who are coming through are people who don't really have very much money, and they're trying to make a difference. Blah blah blah. What's up down there?
What's up, Simon?
And then when she charges higher for the classes, she's usually bringing in like CEOs and upper management who are looking to bring their entire companies through.
Right.
So it's like, you got to figure out where you're going to price it, and then once you figure out where you're going to price it, it's like, all right, cool. Is that this market or this market? There's a market for people who want to pay more, because when you pay more, you get more.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a famous musician, but a musician with chops for sure, a musician who can teach for sure.
And that's kind of how I was looking at the podcast. Is we've got you can just listen to it on the radio whenever you do, but if you want to listen to it on the website, you can. If you want to listen to it on demand, it costs $1 a month, and if you want like one-on-one time, it's $5 a month. That's not a lot to ask, but
no.
you would be surprised at how many bands are out there that think that the way they're doing things is just right and they don't need any help.
It's crazy. I mean, I loved your post earlier. It was like, what's your biggest pet peeve or frustration with local bands?
Right.
And the conversation on there is great. I mean, everybody had points that I'm like, yes, that,
Yeah, all of that.
all that. Every single one of those posts.
So you're on break for a bit, or?
For a little bit, we're going back out April 23rd through the 30th, and then my wife and I are kind of staying put for a little while because we are in the process of buying a house, so it's like
Right.
a little chaotic right now.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that you want to talk about, or anything you wanted to pick my brain on?
Yeah, you were saying something about we were texting earlier.
Hold on, because Simon's in the room. Let me take my headphones off and
Sure.
see if he can hear. All right, say something.
Hey, Simon.
What's going on?
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. A little bit tired still, but I'm up and about. How you doing?
Nice. You doing well? All right. So we were talking earlier about turning shows into events. So maybe that's something that we should chat about for a minute and like figure out how to best do that. One of the things
we literally 7 people in a room. We were picking our brains trying to figure out a good way to do it, and really the question is, what do people want more than a live show? Because obviously a good live show isn't going to initially bring them out. If it's good and they show up and they realize it's good, they'll come back to another one because it was that good. But you have to get them there for it to be good. And I feel like a lot of the times they're not as good if it's not a packed crowd, because there's not as many people moving.
I feel that.
So the initial thing is just to get as many people there as possible, and then most likely you'll get returns. So how do you get them there if the music isn't going to sell it? So that's why we were thinking about, instead of spending money on Facebook ads, spending money on, paying the bar for a keg or something, and advertising, the first certain amount of people can drink from the keg until the keg's empty, pretty much.
Yeah.
Things like that, free pizza. I mean, it's all things that cost money, but it's part of advertising. But that's pretty much the only thing we could think of in like a 45-minute period of trying to think of something that I thought was worthy of even mentioning.
Yeah.
Are they always plausible? Probably not, considering, some shows are 17 plus. So, friends, I think, are important. If people's friends are going, they'll go.
Yeah.
Trying to come up with a theme for stuff, I feel like, helps too. If it becomes an event with a theme, like Halloween themed events, people are always looking for stuff to do.
People love dressing up for things. Like, if I were to go out and if I were to go to a Dying Ultimatum show and be like, this is a Halloween themed show, I would want to put on a mask and rock out with you guys and feel like
and that happened. Right, and people ate it up. I mean, it was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it. Like it was great just seeing that many people walking in with just we bought the masks and said, hey, we're gonna put you on a party bus. You're gonna have to pay for the party bus, but we're not gonna charge you, an ass ton for it. But we're also going to give you free masks to wear, and you just come in and rock it out with the mask on. And people seemed to, like, they didn't care. They wanted to ride on a party bus. They wanted to come in as a group and be part of something bigger than themselves, I think, more than anything. That was one of the things we tried that actually worked. The party bus definitely sells, but you can't afford to get a party bus every show.
No.
I think even charging people $13-14 to get on the party bus, we still didn't break even ever on the party bus.
Yeah, I don't even. How much does one of those party buses cost to rent for the night?
The school bus we got was only $400, but when the school bus company decided they didn't want people partying on their buses anymore, it cost us $650 for a party bus, and that was the cheapest I could find.
That's rough.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's say $600, and you're talking $10 to get on. You already have to charge them $60 just to cover, or you already got to charge them, get 60 people on the bus in order to cover the cost.
Yeah, that's a lot of people, and I don't think that many people fit on there.
On the party bus would only fit 30. The school bus would fit 49, I think.
Fuck, man, that's rough.
So the school bus wasn't so bad. We never broke even, but if we could have got it that last time, we would have, because we had enough people on the party bus to have covered the cost of the actual bus.
You maybe would have been like $10 shy, but who cares?
Who cares? Because I mean, if we were also making money off of the heads of the show, if we say we made $1 or $2 per head, that would have helped. If we would have been selling merch instead of trying to sell the stupid Bandemonium shirts, that probably would have helped. I'm not saying the shirts were stupid.
Dude, all of us were just like buying those. Like, here's $100.
Here's $100. Just take it. I'll give these away for free. Whatever.
We're trying to get to that next level.
Yeah, and it worked.
I mean, everybody did it, so it was basically like that shouldn't have even happened.
Yeah. Well, I think it was a way for them to make money. I'm not down on them. It made sense.
Yeah.
And the same thing with pay-to-play shows. It's just a way for the venue to cover the cost, just in case the headliner doesn't pull enough people to cover the cost.
Sure.
I completely understand it. I'm not saying they were in the wrong for it at all, but it was a hassle, and it probably sheds. I think we did the math. We spent $3,600 for Pandemonium between the party buses, the merchandise that we were buying.
Because did you guys bring in brand new merch for those shows too?
Yeah, we had to buy brand new merch. The first run we already had, but it was a small amount. The second run, I got double what we had to start with, plus some new merch ideas we're trying out because we wanted to try to recoup some of that money.
Right.
But with anything, you try things and they don't always work, and that was the case. Some of the stuff we had didn't sell. We didn't have a full EP at the time. We only had 2 songs, so it was bad timing, but it was fun. It worked out in our favor. We got a lot of play on Will Rock. You did too. You got some good play. I'm still hearing about it now. Like, people are saying, "Oh, I heard that song on the radio." I'm like, "Yeah, you probably did." So it helps with promotion,
Definitely.
Good connects with Stu and whatnot.
Featured on 95.1 Will Rock. Like, that's a pretty awesome thing to say.
But that was an event, That's why it was so easy to get people out.
Right.
I feel like that's why bookers are going towards Battle of the Bands, because they know that becomes an event instead of just a show, and people put more into it.
Push real hard to get people to come out.
Right. They'll even
Otherwise, they're not in the Battle Bands.
And ridiculously, like, we did the math. All right, so $3,600 we spent to try to win this contest to try to play Summerfest, right?
Yeah.
We got offered a show with a better slot in Cadott for one of the rock fest up there for $2,500 just to get on the spot, right? It's like, well, we spent more than that just trying to play Summerfest. Why don't we spend that actually playing something? And it's ridiculous. The amount of money we could have taken from that to spend somewhere else. We were in another Battle of the Bands for Guerrilla Productions, and it was for only $500, but I'm sure we spent a good amount of money on merch and trying to get things rolling for that. So
Sure.
I feel like a lot of the times it's not in the band's favor, and if you're in a position in the band where you could effortlessly do it, is probably a good thing. But if you've got to push to try to win the battle of bands for any reason whatsoever, it's generally not worth it because you're always going to spend more than they're paying out.
Yeah,
Always.
absolutely.
And that's their business model.
That's why, like, I'm also in a cover band, and the cover band, it's called the student body. We all dress up like different genre or different stereotypes from high school, and so I'm the prom king. I wear a tux and sash and everything. But like, what we try to do is we try to encourage people who are coming out to it to like wear their Letterman jacket or wear their high school gear, because it's a fun way to dress up. And what I've been thinking is, when I'm on the road doing the original stuff, is how do I get more gigs that pay well? Well, you have to make them events in order to get paid,
Right.
essentially. And so doing a 90s night where I'm playing everything from Backstreet Boys to Nirvana with my rock band is something that, if I've never heard of David Paige and I'm in, Salt Lake City, why am I going to go out to see David Paige? I'm not. But if I see that this guy over here is going to be hosting a 90s night, that sounds pretty cool. I think I might head out to that.
Yeah. That's a genius idea too. Like black tie events will work too. Like if you said it's a black tie, just to have people show up, say get $1 off the door if you show up in a tie, black tie.
Yeah. Or for 90s night, first free drink if you show up in ripped jeans and flannel or whatever.
Yeah, things like that. I think they sell shows, and I wish there was a lot more good ideas for that in the pool, but we haven't yet came up with anything besides free beer.
Man, free beer and free pizza, I'd be out for that shit.
Right, exactly. And once you get them in, then you could sell the music, and then you could get them to come back for your music and not for some gimmick, but get them in with the gimmick first. I think there was a band called Free Beer and Pizza.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
I know, it's genius, right? Every flyer they handed out said free beer and pizza. I'm sure they got in a lot of fights about it, but it's a genius idea if you want to get people off the shows.
Oh my god. You really got to commit to that, though.
You really do. Oh, man. So, yeah, I think another thing would be to say, like, this is going to be part of a music video. That gets some people out. I think a live radio broadcast for, like, an online radio station. That gets people out. Making it something special, I think, more than anything.
We're doing a live DVD at our show on the 23rd here in Chicago to try to build some more interest in the show, but also to have more things to be able to put on our merch table.
Right.
But I've also been pitching that like it's going to be like a VH1 storyteller style show, and the beginning is going to be me with my touring trio, so me, bass player, drummer. And then I'm going to do a little acoustic set with like 2 or 3 songs. And then I'm going to bring on the full expanded band with 2 guitars, drums, and bass, and the whole 9 yards. And so having all of these different things going on also, I'm hoping is going to be, drawing more interest.
Right. Yeah, that actually sounds pretty cool. I might come out for that. Where's it at?
Elbow Room?
Oh, ouch. Never mind. I recant my statement.
You already what?
I recant my statement. I never want to go to that horrid place again.
They've done a lot to fix that place up.
You're playing with day rollers there.
Sure am.
Yes. I was talking to Ross about that. We played there after Bandemonium for a national act. I didn't mind it so much, but the stage was kind of lopsided and I almost fell over a couple of times. It was really hard to load in and out. What?
You got that weird hole right in the middle.
Yeah, yeah. It was hard to load in and out. It made it really hard for theatrics. Hard to move on stage because the stage was so small. There wasn't a lot of people there, and the people that we wanted to come couldn't find it. So that was just kind of a turnoff. There wasn't much of a built-in crowd there. The bookers weren't necessarily.
Was it Nick that you were working with?
What's that?
Was it the guy Nick that you were working with? Who was booking there?
Sounds familiar.
Because there was a guy who was working there for a little while, and
oh, Nick, yeah, he was I was talking to the new booker about him because he was the one that was sending me the emails.
yeah,
But the other
Yeah,
guy was there
he
when
was
I was there.
Nick had no clue where he was going.
Yeah. I don't know. I just maybe if they revamped it, tell me how your experience goes, and I'll go from there. But
Cool.
I don't.
I have a good relationship with the owner and Kayla who books upstairs. Like she's worked for me as a booking agent before. Like she's been working on my side.
Right.
They're good people there. It's just I agree. It's tough to get people out there. It doesn't have a built-in crowd, and I'd like to see that place thrive.
Right.
But it's struggled. So
Could you imagine 7 people on that stage?
no.
Fair enough. That's my dilemma right now. Because we've got 3 vocalists, 2 guitar players, a bass player, and a drummer.
Yeah, it's not like you even have somewhere to hide those people. Like there's nowhere to go.
I think we would pack the place out by itself, just us 7. I mean, I like the environment, the place upstairs. The room upstairs was nice. It might, we just came out of Bandemonium. We got used to playing on big stages. Nobody showed up because we were opening for a national act and we couldn't pull anybody. I wasn't going to bug anybody after they just did all that work for us for Bandemonium.
What was the national?
The things they carried. What was the other bands?
Bitter Kids.
I forgot the last one.
Yeah, there was one other one that was right after.
Those 2, pretty much.
Right after us.
They were one was from New York, one was from California, and the other was from Colorado. So.
Yeah, one of them was from Canada.
Wait. They put 3 nationals
with nationals and 2 locals.
Okay.
And neither local had draw. So, I mean, we had draw, but I messaged them when we were in the Bandemonium thing and said, hey, we're doing this Bandemonium thing. There's no way we're promoting for that.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's cool. You're still on it, whatever. I'm like, shit. This is going to be a waste of time.
Yeah.
It was just, it was a bad experience. So maybe if it...
That's rough, dude.
Yeah, maybe with some better bands. I could see that being dope if there's like 20 people in there. It feels like there's 100.
Yeah. Well, we're actually we're campaigning real hard to sell that venue out. I think it's like 200 people.
Really?
Yep.
I thought it would be something like 60.
No. People can pack in there real tight.
Yeah. Are they making you use other people's drum sets and whatnot, like share drum sets?
No, we're headlining that show, so it's going to be our kit up there the night.
Okay. Is everybody else using your kit or?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. See.
And then like they've got their own cabs up there that we'll use. That's no big deal. Except I use a combo, and so does one of my other guitar players. So I'll probably just keep my combo and probably his combo too, just off stage and mic them up from over there.
Nothing to load in and out.
Yeah. Well, it's a Vox AC30, so that thing's not light.
What about setting up your in-ears and everything? Is there going to be enough space for?
Oh, I'll set it up off stage, but
okay. Off behind the curtain over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't either side, whichever is easier for them for me to handle the whip. But other than that, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm pretty psyched about it.
What would you say is like the most amateur thing you've ever seen another band do during setup? Don't have the name.
Setup is always amateur hour. if anybody is playing more notes than is necessary to get their tone and do their sound check,
Right.
I hate them immediately.
Yeah.
Whether it's especially a guitar player, because I'm a guitar player, and it's like I know what you need to do.
Right.
Check your tones at home, and when you show up at the venue, it's like, does this tone still sound good? It does. Great. It's still where I left it.
I don't even adjust the tones. I just adjust the volume.
Right.
As long as there's no feedback, you're fine.
Exactly. So frustrating.
I love when guitar players do sound checks and they start playing like cover songs for a second.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate when they play them too long. Like just enough to get the crowd excited and then stop.
Yeah.
That's probably, if you're gonna play too many notes, at least play something people know.
Exactly. Yeah. The other thing I really dislike is it's hard not to, but when people just say check, 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 1, 2, mic check, 1, 2, at least someone in the band should say something to the audience during that time, because a lot of times there's audience in the room, especially like during changeover and do your line check real quick. You know, hey, what's up? I'm David Paige. I'm from Chicago. We're just doing our sound check real quick. We're gonna play some music for you in just a minute, so don't go anywhere. Saying something like that, I'm at least saying something useful into the microphone instead of annoying everybody by saying check, check, check 1, check 2.
I'll see. It would be funny because with screams and whatnot, checking the mic, if somebody tried to say all that and screamed it,
Yeah.
it'd be hilarious.
What's up?
Yeah, I mean, because screams are weird. It's like one of those things where they're so loud, you have to scream into it to make sure that you're not going to clip. I think.
Yep.
And I think that's where a lot of bands go wrong when they do scream when they sound check, is that they don't actually put forth what they're going to do live, and then they get mad when there's some kind of feedback or they're not loud enough. You know, the sound guy is not going to ride the knob the whole time. You know, he's lazy. Let him be lazy.
A lot of times they'll set it up and then they'll go for a smoke break, which is totally cool as long as you get it set up and it sounds good in the room.
Right. It's up to the band to make sure it's done right. And if you got a problem with it, you got a problem with something, say something. Don't wait until mid-set and be like, damn, hey, can you turn this up? Like, figure it out beforehand because it looks ridiculous. I mean, sometimes you have to, but don't stop your set to be like, hey, turn up my monitors, I can't hear nothing. You know?
Yeah.
I've seen that happen once, and that was
like in the middle of a song.
In the middle of a song, the guitar player stopped and is like, "Can you turn me up?" Said it into the mic. Like, you don't have to say it; he can see you.
Jesus. Another amateur thing that I see all the time are when there's explicit emails about like gear sharing. And drummers like, all right, cool, you can use my kit, bring your own snare, cymbals, kick pedal.
Right.
Which is like, I mean, every band knows that that's the deal, but people still show up to gigs and don't bring what they're supposed to bring.
Like, oh, I'm just going to use your whole set. I want to damage your snare and your cymbals.
Yeah.
Your $400 cymbals. I'm gonna
Shit's fucking expensive, man.
Like, at least he's letting you use the toms. Can't you just bring your own damn snare? Like,
yeah.
how hard is that?
Also, like, a lot of people's snare and their cymbals totally change their sound. And if you're a jazzy type of jam band and you're playing with a rock band, your shit's gonna sound terrible when you're playing on that rock kit and you didn't bring your stuff. Or vice versa, when you're in a rock band trying to play rock on a jazz
I mean, it could sound okay, but probably won't. Yeah, there's a lot of resonance in the toms and the cymbals that aren't going to sound that great.
Right.
Funny story. My last band, our drummer, he had $400 Zildjian A customs all around, and a really expensive set. And this band that we got to play the show, we're like, come play. They show up, and the drummer immediately walks up and asks our drummer if he can use his set because he didn't bring his. And our drummer flipped shit. Completely flipped shit.
You didn't think to ask that before you showed up to gig? Like, there's literally nothing we can do about it now other than let you use it.
And he's like, well, your guitar player's letting our guy use his guitar amp, so I just figured, well, my guitar amp doesn't cost $2,000-$3,000.
Right.
You know, like I didn't mind. I knew the guy playing guitar. I don't know the drummer, and drums are more delicate than a guitar amp is.
You're also using them in a very different way.
Yes.
You're physically assaulting the drums
Right.
with every beat you play. And you can't get away with. I mean, if someone were to borrow my guitar amp and start like hitting their guitar against it, I would be really pissed.
Right. Or turning the volume knob to 11.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Spinal Tap. All right, well, I'm gonna get off here. I got some stuff to do.
Absolutely.
Soon.
Great chatting.
Going.
Sweet.
All right, see you later.
Thanks. See you later. See you, Simon.
Peace out. Have a great day.
Hold on. Let me finish the